On BBC One, you can make the difference.
This is BBC One, and this is Kilroy.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hello. Hello and good morning. You're looking forward to settling down with a nice, decent, caring man? Sounds fairly straightforward, doesn't it? But what happens when that exciting, handsome, romantic Mr. Right turns out to be the lying, cheating, deceiving Mr. Wrong? Why is it that some women always fall for the kind of men you wouldn't be seen dead with? Carol, you have a succession of dodgy men. Why?
Well, when I was 18, I thought I was very, very lucky. I met a suave, sophisticated 27-year-old who was very nice. He treated me like I was a grown-up. He said he was faithful to me, said he loved me, and he was wonderful. He happened to be my boss at the time, which made it a bit complicated. However, we started an affair, and for 2 or 3 months he did everything, sent me flowers. He was just lovely. I then found out he was married, but by this time I was so in love with him. I mean, I wanted the relationship to be so perfect, and he gave me all the right signals, so stayed with him. He left his wife, and he moved in and came to live with me. So it was idyllic for a couple of years, got married, got pregnant, had a little boy, and then after about 2 years of having my little boy, he started cheating on me. And he then went from a string of affairs. It always ended up being back with one particular woman, and I put up with it. I loved him so much that I put up with it, and I would have done anything for the marriage to work. And then in 1995, after he'd left me and come back about 4 or 5 times, he then just disappeared, and I didn't see him at all. It took me 2 years to find him. Well, in this particular time, I then lost all my self-confidence, and I thought, I've got to get back to... I didn't think anybody would ever find me attractive or anything again. So I joined a dating agency, and then went through all of the different relationships you do there. Met everything from a forestry commissioner, a lumberjack, solicitor, an architect. Who else did I meet? Oh, chess player was another one as well. And none of them, they were all absolute pigs. Now, they didn't see me to start off with.
When you say you didn't meet a footballer, or did you?
They're always too tall for me.
Pigs? What do you mean, pigs?
Well, they all start off doing the right things. It's always, I want to be with you. They take you out for dinner. Somebody even bought magic pyjamas at one point.
Magic pyjamas?
Magic pyjamas. I was really poorly.
Hang on, wait a minute. What's magic pyjamas?
I was going out with this one particular guy who was lovely. He was very romantic. He was a writer. And I was very, very ill. And he travelled 40 miles to then bring me what he said, a packet of Lemsip and some magic pyjamas. And I wore the tops and he wore the bottom, and it would make me better. So he's very romantic, and he was lovely.
Is that what they call magic? You know something every day here, don't you?
But they didn't work anyway. He got dumped as well. But and then I sort of decided that I wasn't going to get involved at all. So then I started having relationships just for sex, really. Sort of meeting people just on one-night stands. Until just recently, I met a really nice guy, and for the first time in about 4 or 5 years, I actually just let my feelings go. And we talked about moving in. He loved being with my son, took him to football matches, was there all the time, and I found myself actually spending a lot of time with him, which I've never done before. And then sort of the final day came for us to get ready for moving in. We'd even talked about marriage, and he decided he couldn't do it. Decided he didn't want the commitment. He came up with every excuse under the sun. First of all, he thought I was cheating on him. I'd never cheated on anybody. My husband had cheated on me for so long that I wouldn't dream of cheating on anybody else. He then came up with he didn't like the fact that I'd got a son, but he knew that I'd had a son all along. Various other things. Didn't like the fact that I had phone calls from friends. Somebody rang me up one morning for directions to Chester. Happened to be a work colleague who happened to be a man. He thought we'd gone off for the weekend having sex in Bolton. We hadn't. He just wanted directions to Chester.
Bolton, Chester. Oh, right. I mean, how do you have sex in Chester, Bolton, when you're asking for directions to Chester?
Oh, well, he was completely irrational. Simple as that. Couldn't talk to him.
So what is it in you? Is this a problem? Is it just that all the men out there are liars and cheats, or is it you that's the problem that attracts the wrong kind of man?
It must be. I mean, I don't set any high standards at all. All I want is someone to love me and not to hurt me. I don't want anything else. I don't want anybody who's got loads of money. That's all I want. I don't think I'm asking too much.
Well, all I would like to say in relation to this woman, obviously I don't know her, but the problem is a lot of the time, a lot of the women that seem to go through this cycle of meeting the wrong type of guys.
Cycle? She hasn't. She's start to finish. This is a straight line.
No, it seems like
it's a straight line down.
No, it's a cycle. I mean, I just wanted to comment. Actually, she was saying she was working for a boss and she didn't realise she was married.
She
obviously obviously wasn't doing the job
research.
properly.
Yeah. What about the rest?
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of time the actual signs are already there. A lot of the time, but because maybe you think the guy's all fun-loving, you choose to ignore it because you feel, well, I'm going to change him.
No, I mean, I just really believe, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. You know, I'm not going to say, just because somebody has been a pig or whatever, they're going to be like that forever. I would like to give people the chance to prove to me. I mean, I'm not going to prejudge anybody. So if the signs are there and I accept it, that's not a problem. But there is always the chance that I might be the one that they want to be with at the end of the day.
You may be that special person that
maybe. There is somebody out there, I don't know where he is, but
you think he's saying you're kidding yourself?
No.
You're in some form of denial. But is it her fault? Is she attracting the wrong kind of men? Or is she kind of suspending judgment? Or is it just that that's what men are like?
I think we do get little nagging feelings and we think to ourselves, we're just being unreasonable, we're just expecting too much.
I keep
we're
thinking
being
that
forgiving.
I'm not going to let what's happened in the past destroy
yes,
any
you think
of the relationship.
this is my baggage.
Yeah,
this
and
is
I'm not
why I'm
the way
feeling
I
like
felt
this.
in the
Where
past.
really you've got this signal going, he's a lying, cheating brute, and
you don't think
but then
you're
making
excuses. Set your standards high enough. You can't tell.
No.
You can't tell what they're like until you've spent time with them, and you know.
Well, have you had a lot of lying cheats?
All of them. Practically all of them.
How many?
Oh, well, I wouldn't like to give a figure.
What, you mean more than two? More than two?
Yeah, from about the age of 19.
Tell us about one or two of them then.
Well, several of them have gone off with my best friends over the years. The usual thing, more or less what you're saying. They all start off really sweet, very caring, wanting to be with you, spending all their time with you. But after usually about a year or two, they start going out more, they start dressing up more and disappearing off out the door, going out with their mates, saying they're going to play snooker for the night, not coming home for 2 days on the trot.
Is this because you're not out your curlers and your slippers?
I think I make things too comfortable for them at home.
I think that's
the reason, yeah. I make a home for them.
So where's the responsibility for this lie? You're still looking for the right man?
Yeah.
How long have you been looking?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm looking. I don't believe in that you have to go out there and look.
You're hoping one will come up. Yeah, okay.
In time.
How long have you been living in hope? Well, it's a nice way of putting it.
In my 20s, I never really thought about it. I always assumed
of course not, yeah.
that, oh, when I get older, it'll just happen naturally. But of course, when I got to about 30, my parents were,
putting the pressure on.
There's something wrong here. Why haven't you met a nice man?
Well, why haven't you?
You tell me.
No, come on, I'm your dad. Why haven't you? Now listen here, it's getting a bit past this. I want these grandchildren. Why haven't you got a nice man to settle down?
I was the other way once.
Oh, really?
They said, we can't figure it out. You're not lesbian, are you? I said, no, I'm not. I just
Right, okay, so we sorted that out. So
Yeah.
why haven't you found a fella?
I really don't know.
What do you
don't
think?
know. Maybe I've got too high a standard.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
Yeah, too much
You
expectations.
mean, so your standards are that high, there isn't a man out there good enough
No,
for
then,
you?
of course
There must
not.
be a man good enough for you.
No, it's just I find they can let you down a lot.
Charlie,
they can
what
give
is
you
it?
a lot of
I was just thinking about high standards. It's not a question of high standard. I don't think that's... It's actually common courtesy and respect that two people, male and female, have for one another. And I believe that women, I count myself amongst the same breed, that...
Oh, as a woman, you count yourself as a woman,
these ladies, this style of doing it, that you are nurturing, that you're thoughtful, that you are considerate, that you give them time and space, you don't hang on to them, you let them live their lives and don't feel suffocated. Yeah. At the end of the day, there's no respect from the guy back. I mean, I think that's really a nice way to treat people. All you're doing is, I mean, this is a biblical term, isn't it? You do unto others as you would like to be done to yourself.
And what's happened to you?
I I've spent most of my life doing unto others as I would like to be done to myself. And I've had exactly the same scenario. In the last 10 years, well, let's say 8 years, I've had 7 guys that have done exactly the same sort of thing to me. But one step beyond this one, and I think you've touched on that, there's always a woman in the background.
Yeah.
There's either a mother
Oh, there's always a mother.
who is a busybody, or he's a bit of a mummy's boy, or she's very, very powerful and controlling. There's this big control thing. Or there's an ex-wife and maybe children involved, but it's finished, the ex-wife, and then there's this fear that, oh, she might take my children away from him. She's taking my man. I don't want him anymore, but she's taken him, so perhaps I want him back.
Yeah.
And then the other one is an ex-girlfriend. It's like, oh, so he is attractive now. Oh, I think I'll just pop back and have another go. And saying, oh, she's a right old, what's it, you don't want to be with her, or she's too old, or no, I'm much more fun. Or the wannabes, and the wannabes come along and go, isn't he great? I mean, look at Richard, you know, isn't he great? Lovely, isn't he lovely? Isn't he handsome, beautifully turned out? What
Matching shirt and tie.
You know,
Don't forget the matching shirt and tie and hanky, I mean.
And there are some women who would look at a wedding ring, wouldn't give a darn.
No.
Well, to Richard.
Now, not all guys wear a wedding ring. They might, women will know that you're
It's
an item.
interesting
and
you noticed his wedding ring.
Oh,
I didn't
I'll
notice.
walk around like that, you see.
I never noticed his
I think that's really nice.
So you've got the mum, the ex,
Yeah.
the other ex,
Yes.
the
Ex-wives,
girlfriend, and the wannabes.
The wannabes.
And which one do
yeah.
you think? What's you then?
I'm the poor idiot in the middle who has all these strange
why aren't you
women
one of these
coming out.
5? Why aren't you
Because
the
I
ex
don't
or the
think that's
girlfriend or the
No, I don't think
wannabe
that's
or
a
the...
decent thing to do to other people. I don't believe in home wrecking. I don't believe in busting up other people's relationships. It's not nice.
What did you say? I didn't mean it like that. What I meant, I did put it badly. What I meant was, why haven't you ever been the wife? What's the problem?
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, what do you think?
Maybe you should try it.
I think it'd be wonderful. Yeah, I'd love it. But
Have you been asked? Has anyone
no, nobody's ever asked me. Well, actually,
Maybe.
no, one person did ask me on my birthday,
What are you
which I
asking?
thought was a bit.
I mean, she seems a very nice. Yeah, she seems a very
Are you
nice.
getting off here? Got off?
I don't know why she hasn't been asked, but I mean.
Well, what do you think she hasn't been
I mean,
asked?
this string of problems of these guys that you're meeting, it seems strange that they've all got these problems. I mean, if they like you enough, surely they're going to come through those problems, the ex-wife, whoever it is, they're going to be able to get through that, surely.
The problem must be with her, mustn't it?
Well, no, there must be some guys.
No, don't let me down.
I'm not saying the
I've got to be with the women.
No, I don't want to have a row with this lady.
You do want to have a row with this one.
You want me
with
to have a
Carol.
row with
I do
her.
want you and Helen. They're all whingy.
But surely not every guy that she's
Speak up
met.
for the men. Speak up for
Well,
the
I'm
men.
just saying, surely not every guy that this lady's met has got all this baggage.
Absolutely.
With them.
Well,
You
that's
know, it
what-
can't be right. You know, I mean, I'm not married. I haven't got.
Well,
Well, I've got a few exes, but they wouldn't come pestering you probably if I went out
Well, that
with
would be
you.
really nice. Yes, super. But I think, I mean, I actually said it to the last guy that I went out with. I said, could I ask you for a reference from your previous relationship?
I mean, yeah, but you don't know. I mean, that's quite ingenious, but you don't know
I can give
what
you
his
3.
previous relationship was
I can
like.
give
She
you
might have
3
been a
very good
psychopath.
ones.
She might have been an axe murderer. She didn't give you a reference, but it might.
Did you get one?
Might have been a
There
lot
must
of
be
old.
one. No, but I can give you references tomorrow from ex-boyfriends. So, well, she's a lovely child.
We've got all your references. They say you're...
But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't ask for a reference. I would go on how you appear to me, how you behave when you're with me,
And
how we get
I think
on.
that's
you know.
all we do.
But that's what we're
I think
saying
that's
we
all
do
we
that.
do.
And it always turns out wrong.
Yeah.
But why does it
always
turn
let
out
down.
wrong?
Yeah.
What is it, Angie? Is it? Are you saying it's the men? The men out there are like this, or is there something inherent in youth that attracts the wrong kind of man?
Well, initially, in my case, I'd been with someone for 10 years and lived with him for 5. And 3 months after we split up, he married the woman he was seeing. And I didn't really get over it until about 6 years later. In those 6 years, I had many admirers, but I was looking at the similar character that he was. I was looking for revenge. So my problem during that time in finding and looking for someone was complete revenge and spite. So that the hurt that I came across that happened to me, you know, I was just going for that wrong type, which he was. But it was eventually I overcame that. So he came round to see me and you know, we spent some time together, and
After he left, you mean?
Yeah,
After he left
and he
you
was married.
And got married.
Yeah.
Well, he had an affair with you when he was married. didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he came around to see me, and
What, for coffee?
you for coffee? I don't even do that. But he, you know, I realised, I don't know what, I saw him in the first place. He was, you know, balding, greying, the way he was dressed. I thought, what the hell is this? And I moved on. From that day, I moved on, and I became a better person. But trying to find someone else, I just, every time I saw someone similar to him, I just like didn't want to know. I saw from a mile off, and I changed my attitude towards men. And it's very difficult for men these days because most women are independent. We have our own mortgages, we have our own cars, very good jobs, we can turn our hand to anything, we travel alone. We don't need children.
Man would love that.
If we do need
We
children,
can be taken care of.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, times have changed. Women have got far greater sort of independence in their careers and in their earning power. And, you know, the chivalrous nature of romance, where the guy was the breadwinner, you know, he'd take the lady out and she'd make the home for him if they settled down. It's changed now. You know, in the 90s, women's rights have come so far, and rightly so, but men are sort of, you know, their traditional role as the hunter has kind of been usurped, hasn't it?
You know,
you're stuck. You don't know where to go.
I'm a sportsman, so I play a lot of sport. So, you know, but I think there are guys out there who are not sure.
What's that got to do with it?
It's a very masculine environment.
I asked him if he was emasculated. He said, well, I play a lot of sports. What's that got to do with it?
It's a very masculine environment, isn't it?
You can stop being emasculated.
There's a lot of testosterone running around here, isn't there?
That could be a mask, isn't it? Yes, that's what you do to hide
Well,
it all.
actually, it does make me kind of, you know, when I go out after a game, you know, I'm
No, I'm not talking to you anymore. He's getting carried away with himself over there, isn't he? He's making a valid point about the way in which women have changed and become... And we'll come back to that, about women's expectations that he's just been talking about in a way. But can't you tell when a man's a dodgy man? Can't you see them coming?
How can you tell? I mean, if they're wearing a mask and they've got a gun in their hand, they're saying, well, there's something wrong with him. You can only see what they want you to see.
Yeah.
And you're...
They're all bad news.
Not all of them.
That's really sad.
You have to take from every experience, don't you? You know, you have to try it. Life's a gamble. You gamble. You lose, you win.
But why have
you learn.
But you've not found Mr. Right, have you?
No.
They've all been a bit... What's been the problem with them?
Well, just haven't found Mr. Right.
What's been the problem with them? What's been the problem?
Well, they're just not right. There's always something... I think there's someone out there for everyone, and it's just finding that spark. There's got to be that spark, otherwise
But it's not just that you're not finding the right man, you're finding the wrong man. They're dodgy men. They're the liars or the cheats.
They're not right for me.
But why can't you tell? Why can't you see them? Are you kidding yourself?
Because they're only projecting what they want you to...
Can't you tell?
No.
It's a terrific.
Can't you tell?
Well, I think you can. Yeah. Well, I think you can.
What's she, the naive?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they need a man.
Oh, so. What? Are you the other way then? Well, what else are we supposed to expect? You're not?
I've been married 30 years. No, I'm not.
You're not going to leave your husband for another woman or anything,
no.
are you? Well, they do, you know, because they've been here telling us about it. No, I am joking with you.
I know.
But so what do you mean you don't need a man? You've been married for 30
all
years.
These women, they've all got their own cars, jobs.
Well, you need a man.
No, not really.
I hope he's listening to this.
Probably will.
What? You don't need your husband?
Not really, no.
This is terrible. Why don't you need your husband?
No, you would need him. He wasn't there.
Maybe because
And I also think a lot of these women are saying that they haven't met the right man. They probably have. Not for them, but they're saying they meet bad men all the time, like your writer
Charlie.
and your
I've met
architect.
some lovely, lovely men. I mean, they are super people. But unfortunately, the baggage that comes with them, or the little, you know, the bitches from hell that are there gathering behind them in a small pack, baying and slavering, they do get in and they get there and they bust it up for the hell of it, for the fun of
When
it.
it's laid on a plate, they're going to take it. They can't resist
I
it.
can't get you from him, I think.
And if they think they can get away with it, if they think that no one's going to find out, they'll do it. They'll grab the opportunity.
Why can't women tell? Why can't you tell? Can women tell?
You can tell.
You can?
If you're an outsider. If you're actually in the situation, I don't think you can always tell. I think friends can tell, and I think family can tell when it's a bad apple. But when you're actually in that position, I don't think you can tell. My mum couldn't tell, but I could.
What could you tell?
Well, the man my mum met was actually in prison. I didn't know that, and my partner...
He's got a lot going for him from day one, hasn't he?
Yeah, but, I mean, we didn't know that, and my mum had actually wrote to him for a year as well. She knew? Yeah, I didn't. But when he actually came out of prison, I guessed by the way he was, the way he acted, the way he talked, the way he smoked. I could just tell.
What do you mean, the way he smoked?
So, I mean, he smoked roll-ups, but it was just the way he smoked, the way he watched videos. It was as if he was trying to catch up on lost time.
Well, how do you smoke and watch videos, catch up? Show me the mannerisms.
But the way he was, because, I mean, my mum told me that he'd just come out of the army. So, but I could tell he hadn't.
Yeah.
I could tell he'd just come out of prison.
Oh, OK, so he'd been in prison. Your mum wrote to him when he was in prison. He came out of prison, they met up, got together. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad person.
No.
Right? Or that he might have been a bad person, but he's reformed, he's rehabilitated. Why was he a bad apple?
It was just things about him, the way he was trying to do things. I mean, how it actually happened, myself and my mum fell out for a year over it.
He fell out, because you told your mum she shouldn't be seeing him?
No, what it was, I found out that he'd been in prison, and my fiancé had been working with him, and he tried everything to get him a job, and basically he felt that Bob, that my mum's ex, had used him to try and get a job, and he hadn't been honest, so we actually fell out with my mum over it, and we didn't actually speak for a year because of it.
What did your mum do during this time? Did you know he was a bad apple? She said he was a bad apple.
Yeah, I knew he'd been inside, and I'd spent 12 months going to visit him when I was writing to him. Then he come home on home leave and stopped with me for a few days. And he seemed really great, lovely and very caring, and wrote me lovely letters, and when he came out he got a job straight away. We were both working as well, and I had everything I wanted. And he never went anywhere without me. We was always holding hands when we went out. I mean, there was doubts in my mind, but...
What were the doubts about?
Well, you know, was I doing the right thing, and, you know...
So where did it go wrong?